You know, the kitchen when I was a kid was my father and my uncle just beating the shit out of each other verbally. You know, they're brothers and best friends, and me.
Yeah.
You know, like, so, you know, that's, you know.
It's just what you knew.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's 100% what I knew. But, so I stayed, you know, at the mill. Joe got divorced, and he was the type of chef where he didn't associate with the cooks, the sous chef, at all out of work. Like, he didn't exist out of work.
Heard.
Like, he came to work. We didn't know anything about his private life.
He was only chef.
He was only chef. That's it. Like, we didn't know, like, we knew he was married, and that's it. Like, we never met his wife, nothing. He gets divorced and becomes maniac.
Yeah.
He's like, guys, let's go out and party. You know, like,
yeah.
And he starts drinking with us and smoking weed and being a maniac.
Yeah.
Well, we get shit-housed one night and get in a bad wreck.
Okay.
Who's
driving?
Joe is.
Okay.
He had this jacked up pickup truck, Toyota pickup. You know the oh shit handle?
Yeah.
I got my hand on the oh shit handle. We're a half mile from my house. We leave the bar, and we're pie-eyed.
Yeah.
He's on the wrong side of the road. I'm like, dude, you're on the wrong side of the road. There's a car coming. Well, he swerved, and when he swerved, you know how people put, like, rocks along their driveway and shit?
Yeah.
He hits that, and we're flying. And we go 8 feet in the air, through a telephone pole, head on into a tree.
Got you.
I'm hanging on the oh shit handle. Well, when I go through the windshield, it snaps my elbow like a chicken wing.
Heard.
But that's what saved my life because it was head-on passenger side. They said that the last scratches on my neck, they measured that and then the length of my head, and then from there to the tree was 6 inches. Head-on, the hole in the windshield.
Yeah.
Pull my head through the windshield. Joe's like, you all right? I'm like, my arm's broken. He's like, how do you know? The bone was sticking out.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, we got to get help. So the truck was jacked up, so you always had to hop out of it anyways. Well, it was stuck 8 feet in the air, and we didn't know it. You know, it's pitch black out. We open the truck, fall 8 feet. Break my fucking wrist.
Oh, my God.
Walk
Jeez.
home.
Yeah.
I walk home. The cops followed the blood trail. That's how they found us.
Right.
Now, I didn't know where he went. He, like, bolted. Come to find out, he had been in my apartment and called the police. So the cops come get me. The ambulance comes. Now, the reason I don't drink anymore, and I was never drunk, but I'm not good at it. And,
yeah.
You know, and get a little mouthy and stuff. So when the cops showed up, I was like, let's fight, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like, because they said I was driving, and where's the driver? They said, who's driving? I said, my buddy. And they said, what's his name? I said, Joe. And they said, what's his last name? I said, I don't know. And they said, I thought he was your buddy. And I said, he is. That's why I don't know. You know, you know, like, fuck off. You know, like, you know, like, you're drunk and dumb, and he's my chef.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You know, I'm the Sioux, and it's Saturday night before a 400 cover brunch.
Yeah.
And so they take me off in an ambulance, and they tell me that I'm not going to use my right arm anymore. They had to do, like, all emergency surgery, pin it all together and stuff. Joe ended up getting an OUI, and we had to call the restaurant. I think the first cook and, like, line cooks ended up putting out that brunch, you know, because your executive chef's in jail and your sous chef's in the hospital and may never use his arm again.
Yeah.
And then I was lucky that I had a great surgeon that put my elbow back together.
Right.
And he actually said to me, he goes, if you can tolerate a lot of pain, you might be able to get, like, 70% of your motion back. He goes, it all depends on how much pain you can take, is how much motion you'll get back. I lost 5%.
Yeah.
So I got 95 back because they would just restretch. They had to restretch all my tendons. They had to restretch everything because it, like, snapped like a chicken wing. Like, you know, when you break a chicken wing apart?
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened to my elbow. Yeah. And so I still got the plate, and, like, there's a plate and 9 screws in there. Sometimes on, like, a heavy butchery day, it'll get tight. You know, or if I'm, like, you know, a lot of heavy knife work, it'll get tight on me. But, I mean, I was lucky. I was totally blessed, lucky that we lived through that.
Yeah.
I was out of work for 18 weeks, but it was New Year's, and Joe was buried at the restaurant. I was still the Sioux. So I went back early than I was supposed to, but I had to be light duty. They were like, you know, I had to be careful with, like, any heavy chopping or anything like that. I said, let me go in and do all the pastry work for you. You know, New Year's, I was just going light duty, and I was on salary. I was making like $28,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I've been there for 5 years. The owner cuts my pay because I'm on light duty. I want my check, and it's, like, short.
Yeah.
I go to the guy. I'm like, I've been killing myself for you for 5 fucking years. Like, I was a kid, and I run your wood grill, like, and
Yeah.
what the fuck is this? You never gave me extra when I worked 90 hours a week.
Yeah.
So now that I'm working 30, 35, you cut my pay. Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, we just figured you were light duty. We didn't want to pay your whole salary. It's like, all right, I see where I stand.
Yeah.
So I started looking. This place was open in Atlantica in Cohasset.
Okay.
My fishmonger, I said to him, I want out. I'm done with this place. Fuck them.
Yeah.
I love Joe, but fuck the owners. That's grimy. Like, I've been grinding for so many years for you, and you cut my pay. I just don't understand that. So I got an interview at Atlantica.
Okay.
I showed up there again. I thought I was a chef. I was just an unbelievable line cook. And I for lack of a better term, I knew I was a really good line cook.
Yeah.
Kenny had been trying to get me, throwing down at this place. Atlantica was opened by my mentor, Eric Stenfors. I didn't know he was going to be my mentor at the time.
Yeah.
But Jasper White was also behind it. Jasper was the opening consulting chef.
Yes.
Atlantica was this place that was the chart house in Cohasset Harbor that this billionaire's house was across from, and he didn't like when he woke up and saw a closed restaurant. So Eric was his private chef.
Okay.
And he told Eric, why don't you put a team together and let's open that restaurant? So this guy spent $14 million.
Heard.
And built this unreal restaurant. And he told Eric, hire a consultant, the best you can find. So he hired Jasper White, who's the godfather of New England cuisine. You're on the water in the South Shore. Like, who else would and this was before Jasper opened, Summer Shack. We just closed Jasper's, and he was doing, like, consulting for, like, American Airlines and Legal Seafoods and stuff like that.
Dope.
So Jasper comes in, and my fishmonger says, my best friend is opening a restaurant in Atlantica. You should go talk to him. So he gets me an interview. I go in right from service, dirty uniform. Again, don't know any better. Never been in a real upscale. And I interview with him, Jasper, and the executive sous chef, Psycho.
Yeah.
And
Psycho.
Of
course.
Yeah. And I tell the three of them that I'm the best they ever seen.
Oh, wow. Okay. Get the fuck out of here. How old are you?
22?
Yeah.
I'm telling Jasper White.
But mind you, at this point, you'd been doing this shit for 9 years.
Yeah.
So I get where that was coming from.
Yeah, and crushing.
Yeah.
Crushing, refusing, big names to go work for him. I'm like, and I told Jasper White, and I didn't even really wrap my head around who Jasper was, because, I remember my first cookbook was Jean-Louis Cooking with the Seasons, that big coffee table book.
Yeah.
And at Mill Wharf, I tried to emulate as many of those recipes as I could. So I was, like, making these crazy plates. Because the one thing I was blessed with is every one of the chefs I worked under were like, I don't want anything to do with menu additions. I don't want anything to do with features. You handle features, I'll write the menu.
Yeah.
So, and they're like, just do whatever you want. Just, keep it like what we do. And I didn't even have to test some of them with them. Like, they would just let me go.
You just did it, yeah.
Just let me go. And I was, like, taking out Cooking with the Seasons and doing these fucking wild plates and, and all this shit that I had no idea. Nobody showed me it. Nobody taught me any of it. Like, nobody was like, no, this is how you get that sauce. I would, like, read John Louis' recipe and then recreate it. Nobody was teaching me emulsification or reduction or any of that. It was just the voice in my head was telling me to do it.
Yeah.
I was doing it. And so I told those guys that I was the best they ever seen. So Eric called me. He's like, I don't even have a position for a junior sous chef because I have everything filled in.
Yeah.
But I want to see if you're right.
Yeah. If you got the balls, let's see them.
He goes, we're going to bring you on. He goes, we'll pay you what you were making, which was like $30,000.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, because you're going to be the only person in this kitchen that didn't go to CIA. I'm like, all right. Whatever. What's that?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's like, no, I'm not a police officer.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, what's that? Cool.
Yeah.
And I walked in this kitchen. Joe was like, hey, listen, you need to be ready. Joe bought me knives. Joe got me my first set of Wustoffs and was like, you're going into a different place.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, you'll be fine. He said to me that one of the best things he ever said to me, he goes, remember, it's only food. He goes, it's only food. Just remember that at the end of the day, it's only food. I'm like, all right, Joe. I'm like, I'll be fine. He's like, this is not like 5 miles apart from the restaurant I've been in for 5 years.
Yeah.
And built a name in this area. Like everybody knew I was the front man of this, Chester's at the Mill Wharf,
Yeah.
Open kitchen, wood grill. Like I was the guy. Plus I was also probably 400 pounds at the time.
Yeah.
I had gotten up to 515 pounds. Which we'll get into in a little bit.
Yeah.
But so like, I had a little bit of a reputation, and I think that's the other reason that they brought me on.
Yeah.
Was because they knew like they were opening a restaurant on the South Shore, and I was there. So I came on as a junior sous chef, and they were like, "You're gonna partner with Ben Cutler," and Ben left the business. But Ben, I hope you listen to this because love you, brother.
Yeah.
They were like, we're not going to bring in a banquet chef because this had a function facility. This place, Atlantica, was capacity 650.
Right.
Massive place. So fine dining kitchen, sterling silver closed, like an hour your mise en place was polishing silver, your vegetable side dishes and your cloches and, all of that. Like work grill, and you had more polishing to do than knife work.
Yeah.
And then the bistro was like upscale casual, New England fare.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the Salt House, which was like a fry shack that went out on the patio.
Right. And
then we had a 250-person function room. And sometimes we do 2 weddings a day. Factory. But making just about everything in-house. We weren't curing our own meat, but we were doing all our own sauces, all our own mayonnaises, full bakery, full bake shop, patissier station. The bake shop had 5 employees, pastry sous chef, executive sous, as big as I've ever been in.
Right.
Joe had sent me off to stage at Sheridan one time in the kitchen he came up in, and I spent like 2 days there to just see that. But this was totally different. And this was ground up. Like, they hadn't even bought any equipment yet when they hired me.
Yeah.
They were just, besides what was there. And I remember Eric saying to Jasper, Peter said we can have a blank check. We can buy anything we want because he's only doing this once. So we had like 8 Robocous. Like we had Robocous. Yeah, like he's like, I don't care. This guy was a billionaire.
Yeah.
And he gave us a blank check. Jasper was like, let's put a wok station in.
Yeah.
And Eric was like, why? He's like, because we can. We'd ended up not getting the wok station because it didn't have room. But it was just like, we had a frozen yogurt machine for a year and a half on the floor because we had no place to put it.
Yeah.
But then we hooked it up and we had frozen yogurt in the kitchen and we were fucking around with that.
Dope.
Just doing anything we could. And I come on and totally outmatched with knowledge. But what saved me was we needed like 40 cooks to open the place.
Yeah.
And we had 7.
Ooh.
We needed like 9 prep cooks. We had 2. We needed like 7 dishwashers. We had 1. So I outworked everybody.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't break me. I lived right down the street. Like, in Iowa work. Yeah. I used to go in at 6 in the morning, leave at 3 in the morning, go home, sleep, come back. Because we had so much equipment and so much plateware that we could do a whole service with 1 dishwasher, and then we'd clean the kitchen, then switch into butcher aprons and wash dishes for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Scrubbing everything, and Eric was, I remember my first night breakdown with him, I sent the cooks home. Me and Ben sent the cooks home. And he said, why'd you send the cooks home? And we said, we checked them out, chef. And he said,